Ciao, I'm Simone and I'm an Italian professional photo videographer. If you live in a 21st century like me, you're probably aware that social media have become an incredibly powerful tool to build an audience online and increase your revenue as a photographer. To be honest, a few years back, I didn't really believe in social media because I thought it was impossible to grow an audience if you were a normal person coming from a small village in the middle of nowhere. But while working as a personal trainer, I simply started sharing my videos and photos on Facebook and Instagram. It was just my passion. Not long after, I started receiving requests from friends to create content for those businesses. Aha moment. What if I start studying more in depth how to be seen online as a photographer? Maybe I can transform my passion into a profitable business. Fast forward today with more than 1 million followers between TikTok and Instagram. My full-time job has become what previously was only a passion. I'm definitely not the best photographer in the world, but I do know how to exploit the potential of social media today. Posting content online without the right strategies and tools will just waste your time and energy. And that's why I decided to create a course that will help you understand how you can build an audience and start earning money doing what you love or increase your revenue if you already own a business. The coolest thing is that anyone can unlock the potential of social media because it really doesn't matter who you are and where you come from. In the first part, we'll start from the very beginning to understand how social media works. Then we'll focus more on Instagram and all its main features before touching upon some advanced techniques that will help us grow on multiple platforms at the same time. While in the past, Instagram and social media in general were just an opportunity, today they are the #1 marketing tool. And thanks to revolutionary recent changes in the social media landscape, we are now in the right moment to start taking action. And with this course, you'll save a ton of hours and energy, especially at the beginning. Don't swim in this ocean alone, but let's lay the foundation of your online presence together. I'll see you on the other side. Ciao. YouTube. Starting from my generation, there's no way that brands would reach us on TV or print. Instead, they want to target the things that we use the most, aka social media. When brands come to me and ask for sponsored posts, they know that my audience has an interest in photography and creativity in general, and that they're tied to me with an emotional attachment that you won't find, for example, if you put an ad on a print or in the middle of the highway or on Facebook towards an audience that have never seen you before. That emotional attachment is what really makes social media so powerful, because not only allows to have an audience who's interested in what you do, but the coolest and most incredible feature about social media is that it's completely free. Some YouTubers, Instagrammers, TikTokers are earning millions having invested zero or close to zero at first. But let's not talk about millions because that's not what we want. Or let's say, is what we want deep down, but it's not easy. And like with everything in life, only a few people can make it to that stage. So let's focus on easy things because social media is not only about being an influencer. Actually, you know what? Forget that word. Instead, think about putting you out there, showing your work. We're talking about a free worldwide marketing platform because the reality is that you can use these platforms to, first one, showcase your portfolio, which means you put your work out there in platforms that have already billions of users and anyone can access and see your profile. Second, showcase your talent. Many times photographers have their website with portfolio and stuff, but you can't really put everything you want into your website. It has to be clean, has to be professional, and so on and so forth. Whereas on Instagram or TikTok, you can show to the world how you created a certain piece of content, adding so much value to the final result. Plus, if your dream is to work for Coca-Cola, for example, you can take some shots for Coke and just post them in your profile. And there's a chance that if the photo is really catchy and high quality, could hit the algorithm, go viral, and be seen by Coca-Cola itself or other beverages company. And let me tell you that this is not that uncommon as you might think. On the other hand, it's very unlikely to go viral with just a blog post. Why I'm saying this? Because it happened to me many times and loads of other friends too. But Obviously, it's not that you post one photo, snap a finger, and get a gig with Coca-Cola. That's not how it works at all. But we'll get into this later. Third one, also, you can be discovered by brands themselves by exploiting some SEO principles of social media. Trust me, whenever a brand wants to find ambassadors, they rarely go on Google to find them. It happens very often on social media because of the same principle we just mentioned. Same thing happened with me and my global ambassadorships with Joby, which is part of the Viter Group that also have Manfrotto, Syrup, Lowepro, and others that I'm pretty sure you know. And obviously Nanla as well for the lighting part. 4, getting brand deals, which means you're not paid for your time directly, but you're paid for your audience, for your communication skills and talent. And if brands pay you, first of all, you get a ton of free gear, which is always useful for us photographers. But the concept is that you're not monetizing your audience directly, but instead the brand pays you. You create free content for people. People buy the brand's product if they like it, and everyone's happy. On the other hand, monetizing directly your audience is always a little bit more complicated with your products and services. 5th point, last but not least, you build authority in the space. And at this point, there's really no need to talk about it because you know very well that being recognized as an authority in this space brings you huge benefits. Now, to close this video, I just want to show you a 1-minute speech from Kevin O'Leary, a famous US investor, as you might have seen him in Shark Tank and more.
If 3 years ago when I was asked this question, what degree gives you the highest chance of success in a career? Number 1 would have been engineering, number 2 engineering, number 3 engineering. And generally it's the graduating cohort of engineers, and about a third of those classes go on to take their ideas, turn them into patents, turn them into businesses. But I've changed my mind in the last 2 years, and I'll tell you why, Evan. Since the pandemic hit, the number 1 demand I have for my companies are people that can take the concept of the business and tell a story about it. Produce a video, do really rich photography, build out 59-second, 39-second, 29-second videos, 14-second videos to plaster all over social media to sell product direct to customer. So if you're a graduate from the arts, or you're a writer, or you're a photographer, or an editor, or videographer, all of a sudden I'm paying you $150,000. And I would have thought I could have hired you for nothing because you were a starving artist.
What is the ultimate goal of any social media? Even though it sounds weird saying social media in general, because while TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat are all different themselves, the goal is always the same. They need to earn money because they are a business. But if you're a user, you're not paying to create an account or to post pictures or to watch other people's content. Well, then how they can make money? You know very well. External advertisers. Whenever we want to try to grow on social media to gain exposure and be picked up by the algorithm, we need to think on how we can satisfy the need that these platforms have, which is keeping the user as much time as possible on the platform. Because the more they stay on the platform and scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, the more ads they see, and therefore more revenue for the platform itself. Let's say you post a photo on Instagram, the user is really caught by this photo, decides to visit your profile and then scroll throughout your whole feed and check out all the photos you have. It engages with you and maybe send you a message. This person has stayed very long on the platform thanks to you. This will be a great advantage for the algorithm because it's like saying, okay, this user stayed so much on the platform thanks to you, so I want to give you more exposure because you're helping me making money. Now, while it seems all theory now, this concept is going to make sense very soon, and it's extremely important to understand that everything we do on whatever platform has to answer this question. Will this action make the user stay longer on the platform? We're getting into this later, but this is the reason why Instagram from a photo sharing platform has moved to a more video sharing platform. Because the retention rate of videos is much longer than a photo. A user tends to spend more time on a video than on a photo. Once we understood this concept, then we are ready to ask ourselves how we can make the user stay longer on the platform. How we can adapt our content for this purpose. It's really important to understand this as well, because when we are shooting our photos, maybe we are on set and we want to make sure to think about how we can create some type of content to then post the final photo online, which means that that content has to be more shareable on social media afterwards. And yes, we really need to think in that way. For example, when you're doing a shooting, you can take some behind the scenes, which you weren't doing before, or you can showcase how you took a certain type of photo in certain type of scenario, or how you set up a certain type of lighting, or whatever comes in your mind. Keeping people on the platform can be achieved in loads of different ways, which include inducing also micro actions, recalling your accounts, commenting as much as possible, messaging on the app itself, and in general being active, and think carefully how you're being active, because it has to be in the most efficient way. Key concept here again: will this action make the user stay longer on the platform? We need to appeal to an audience and make that audience stop on our content. Plus, we need to structure our profile thinking not only about us, but also about the advertisers. How can I make my account attractive for brands? While not necessary, considering the brand's perspective can really help us massively. Whatever social media you're planning to use, our objective as photographers is to create some sort of relations with an audience that will ultimately bring us loads of benefit, as mentioned before, including direct sales of our products and services, revenue from third parties, authority in the space, and so on and so forth. So, what is the best way to create a relation with an audience? The answer is simple. You need to show up where the audience might relate with you the most. Well, sounds obvious, but it's not. If you're selling windows, a gaming fair might be not the perfect place to find clients. Same thing with social media. Which social media has the best target for you? Is it Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Clubhouse? While showcasing photos and talking about photography could be adapted to any platform, maybe Clubhouse is not the best if you just want to showcase photos. Instead, Instagram is surely better because it's actually something for posting photos and videos. Do you want to teach what you know with long form content? Well, then in this case, YouTube is the one. Our needs might be different, but I can tell you that my go-to social media are TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, with this last one being the long-term strategy. TikTok being more short-term reach, and Instagram for building a community. And this is because for how the algorithm works. TikTok pushes content to new audience every single time, while Instagram tries your followers first, then expand into new people afterwards if that piece of content is worth it. Don't worry, this might not make any sense now, but let's break down a little more the key points of the most used social media, starting from YouTube. YouTube is the second largest search engine, which means after Google, if you need to find something, you go to YouTube. It's mainly based on long form content that could last anywhere 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, or even more. As a photographer, I think is an amazing platform to teach others whatever you know. But there is a problem with YouTube. Making high quality videos to post on YouTube takes a massive amount of time and effort before seeing any kind of result. It could actually take years, but obviously it depends on the quality of your work. And overall, I think it's a fair platform because if you grow, it pays you pretty well. Instead, Instagram doesn't pay you anything at any point in time. It's also the platform that allows to create the strongest side revenue stream because the span of attention of the viewer in general is much longer than any other social media, which means that people take their time because of maybe they want to read the description of the videos, they check out the links, which is something that doesn't really happen on Instagram or TikTok. They recently introduced shorts, which are up to 60 seconds for now, and are vertical clips and can be uploaded in a specific section. While they can give you quite a big boost in subscribers, I personally don't believe much in this function due to the nature of the platform itself. If you have time and energy, because building a channel requires an incredible amount of willpower, I think YouTube is the way on the long term that you should take. However, if you don't have time and skills to create high quality videos, my suggestion is that you start from TikTok, which is this new app based only on short videos of 15 to 60 seconds. Now they're expanding into 3 minute videos, but let's not talk about it. TikTok was the first platform that made me explode on social media because it was much easier to go viral than in any other platform. You can upload pre-edited videos or create new ones using the in-app editing software. It has loads of built-in effects that can be used to make your videos more engaging at any time, and even these can be applied directly in the app. Now the question is, should you start a TikTok? My answer is yes, especially because now you could use the same video that you use for TikTok for Instagram Reels and for YouTube Shorts. So this means creating one piece of content and posting 3 different platforms. The biggest problem about TikTok is that it requires high frequency of posting. I personally posted 3 times a day in the first 4 months of opening the account with an average of 1.5 hours worked to make the video for editing, shooting and stuff. Now, it is not necessary anymore posting so often because the app is much more saturated than it was when I actually started. And because we're talking about videos and not posting photos, if you're not familiar with editing engaging short piece of content, growing on TikTok might take a while before seeing any results as well. And same thing could happen with Instagram. Okay, let me make the story very short here. Back in 2010, it wasn't really the first photo sharing app, but for a few reasons was just the best one for photographers until a while ago when Mosseri, the head of Instagram, declared that this is not a photo sharing app anymore. It used to be a photo sharing platform, but it's not anymore. It was born as a tool to showcase your best pictures of your daily life, but now is officially transitioned to a video sharing platform. Why? Because of the reason we already mentioned. Videos are more engaging, they keep the user longer in the platform, which means more money for them. 70% of its users are aged below 35. And it's estimated that 60% of users watch IG every day. And the average screen time on this app is 53 minutes per day. It's the social media with the highest engagement rate. And because of these numbers, Instagram has become like a business card. Brands go to IG to see who to sponsor, clients that come to me look at my IG first. It's indeed the most important platform, and that's why we're now focusing on it. One thing is true, it's changing a lot, and this is dangerous. Because like what happened with Facebook, when you want to be too much, you're just going to be a little bit redundant. One of the reasons why IG kept its leading position throughout the years, despite being acquired by Facebook in 2012, is because they always maintained their core and values where they were since they started. Now, talking about Facebook, I can tell you that it has become a social network for older people, and almost no one in the new generations actively uses it anymore. Personally, I think has become only annoying, showing things I don't want to see with loads of different notifications. Probably the most positive thing about Facebook right now are groups. I don't use that function in my community, but could be a viable option if you require a place to gather people online with or without restricted entry. We could also mention Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, Flickr, Behance, LinkedIn, and more, but I don't want to give you redundant information because that might confuse you. The point is that should you start all of them? The answer is, well, depends how much time and energy you want to dedicate through expanding your online audience. Many people think that you should try to stretch as much as possible and therefore open all the accounts and try to post everywhere. In this case, the risk is that you'll burn out and you won't continue. Whatever social media you're gonna choose, the chances to go viral and grow in a very short time are extremely low. Therefore, my suggestion is that you focus on one or two and then try to implement the others with time. Keep in mind that eventually is not crazy difficult to transport, to move people into different platforms. So it's better to take care of one, which means posting and focusing on high quality content instead of posting everywhere with poor quality. This is totally up to you and depends on the time and effort you want to put into it. Talking about social media, you're competing with the world. 8 billion people that could substitute you because there are actually no barriers to entry and incredible benefits for those who success. So the question is, how can you stand out? Right when I had the explosion on Instagram, I decided to analyze what happened to me. I grew from around 28K to basically 100K followers in 3 months, thanks to the virality of my reels. I genuinely didn't know that this was even possible. However, I understood that by combining several unfair advantages of mine, I was able to attract a unique audience. A few years ago, I was a professional model working in Milan for big brands, and doing these kind of fashion show shootings, I learned how to pose in front of the camera. Funny enough, I moved behind the camera as is happening now, and I found that the two things combined together are not a common bundle within other creators. I'm not saying that I'm the only one being a model and a photographer at the same time, but if I compare the pool of photographers with the pool of photographers who are also model, well, the competition becomes a fraction. And not by chance, my most viral posts on Instagram are the ones where I show you how to stay in front of the camera and take great photos with self-portraits. Plus, when I was actively working for clients a couple of years ago as a videographer, I was specialized in short commercial 15 to 30-second videos. TikTok Reels, YouTube Shorts are made for this type of videos. And this is a huge unfair advantage for me because I already have a ton of experience in crafting short value-packed videos. Now, I know what you're thinking. 90% of the people have their self-confidence below zero and think they have nothing unique in themselves. But stop there. Every one of us has some kind of unfair advantages, and you just need to be honest with yourself. I'm 100% sure that you have some sort of skills and talent that, if combined together, will make you stand out from the crowd. It's really not about the single skill. There are millions of photographers out there that are 10 times better than me, saying the least. There are tons of models much more handsome than me, but there are not millions of photographers who are also models and they're specialized in short video content. Do you get what I mean? This is the number one factor for picking a niche. Exploit your unfair advantages. All right, with this being said, in almost all the social media, we can identify 3 broad types of accounts. First one is educational. So whatever you're doing, you're teaching someone else how to do anything. The second one is entertaining. So you're just doing fun stuff. There is not a real value rather than just, wasting time, having fun and smiling. The third one is those who follow trends. And this could be also about news. If you want to update people on what's going on in the world or also what's going on maybe in social media or jump on new trends that are going viral right now. The question is, who do you want to be? And to answer this question, you need to understand what's your goal with social media. Why are you using social media? And number one thing is, what needs are you solving? Many times it happens that maybe you're not identifying a need that is already existing in the world, but you can create your own problem. Let me give you an example. When you're taking a certain kind of photo that people do not understand how it was taken, then you're creating a problem because these people want to know how you created that piece of art. You really need to ask yourself why people should follow you. What is the value that you're adding, which is the reason why they should like, comment, and save your photos. And to do this, you can also think about you watching content online. Why are you watching that person or that YouTube video or Instagram? How did it catch your attention? Try to analyze these kind of factors about yourself and try to understand how other people could follow you. Plus, one more thing is that the content should also reflect your personality. It is difficult to stand out as a normal photographer, as a portrait photographer, but it's easier to stand out as you as a photographer, putting something that is not common to other people. It could be that you're funny. It could be that you're using a specific kind of set of gear. It could be that you're explaining things extremely well and therefore people want to follow you. So it's definitely easier to stand out, not as a photographer, but as a photographer with a certain personality. Think about your personality and how you'd like to be perceived by others. And this is also about understanding your target. Are you targeting just beginners, which are always the majority of the people at the bottom of the pyramid? Or are you targeting more advanced, which means that you have high knowledge in a certain topic and you're looking for high ticket selling points. In general, when you're selling to beginners, you need to sell low price things to a lot of people. Whereas if you're advanced, if your target is advanced people, then you can sell much higher prices to a lower number of people. It really depends on what's your goal. And it really depends also on your experience. Or for example, you're just targeting general people interested in photography. So maybe you're creating the need for these people to learn how to take good photos. And this doesn't really have like an ultimate monetary goal. It could come in the future, but it could be also just to make friends and to create a community. One of the really key things here is that you really need to pick a niche and be extremely specific. Start extremely small in your niche and then expand later. If you want to be a photographer on social media, it's very hard to just be a photographer. It's much more effective to be an editing portrait photographer or Photoshop expert only, or the person who tries out all the new gear that are coming out in the future month. It's really about picking that small niche of a niche. So, okay, we have a niche about photography. That's not enough. This is way too broad because there could be portrait photography, landscape, editing, Photoshop, Lightroom, new gear, like loads of different smaller niches. And to start out, to be noticed by social media, it's really important to just find one. And this is pretty difficult because myself, I got trouble doing this because what I'm doing right now is that I'm just teaching photography and I'm very broad because I like to do everything. I cannot decide what I want to do because I get bored very easily if I do portrait for 24 hours. So it's not impossible to grow as a kind of a broad portfolio, but it's much easier if you have a niche. If I would have picked a niche, I would have gone already much higher on YouTube than I'm doing right now. But that's my choice because what I want to do is I want to enjoy the process and go long term. I know that myself, if I decide to go only for portrait tutorials on YouTube for 6 months, I would just burn out and I will live it like there. So I prefer to grow slower and have a broader niche. But my suggestion is that if you have a passion, if you have a niche, just go with it if you can and if you know that you're not going to burn out. Touching upon everything is not the smartest idea ever, but again, I just want to do it because I want to enjoy the process and do what I love. So to pick a niche is also important to understand the categories of social media. So you need to find the people who matter the most to your business. And there's actually a tool that helps you doing this to understand a little bit more insights from Google. And it's called Find My Audience. So if you just go on www.thinkwithgoogle.com, then you'll find a feature called Find My Audience. And there you just need to select the type of audience and then your category, depending on the type of photography. For example, you could just go for sport and fitness if you're a sport photographer and then see a few insights of that kind of audience. One more goal of building your own niche and just staying there is that you build authority there. And you know very well that building authority in a certain space will give you tons of benefit. And if you pick a single niche, it's going to be easier. If you do like me, that you pick everything, then it's more difficult. Yes, I'm building authority on teaching photography, but if someone has to think about whatever, portrait photography, then maybe I'm not the best in the space. So it's gonna be also easier to have more sales if you pick a niche and then you're gonna sell products on that single niche. I could be an authority in posing because loads of posing videos that I posted were literally viral. So if you can build authority, you can have more respect and you can be the point of reference. And therefore, again, it's going to have more sales just at the end of the day, and brands will look for you when they're thinking about a certain type of style of photography. So that's totally up to you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Right now, let's talk about the basics. When we're talking about Instagram, the first thing that you need to know is that there are a few account types. So the first one is that you have a normal personal profile. In this case, you don't have access to statistics, and in general, just for people that want to hang out with friends and see other people's story, but it's not really for creators. For creators, if you're a photographer, if you're a business, it's better if you have either a creator account or a business account. They're very similar. You have a little bit more functions than on the private profile, but the difference is that you have access to actually these statistics. My suggestion is that despite there's not a big difference between creator's account and business account, only a few kind of details when you're doing ads, you always stay on creators. Why I'm saying this? Because a few weeks ago, I tried to change from creator to business, and that hurt my account quite a lot. Because the concept, as we mentioned before, is that Instagram wants to make money. And if you are a business, they want you to pay for ads in order to reach new audience. Whereas if you keep as a creator, like as a kind of an influencer profile, then Instagram doesn't block you as much as a business. One more thing that you can do if you have a personal account is that you can put your account on private. That means that when someone wants to follow you, has to request first, and then you can approve it or not. Only if you approve it, he'll see your content, your feed, and your stories. All right, now let's jump into Instagram. So whenever you open the app, you have the first page, which is called the feed, basically. And it's the page where you see the content of the people you follow. But again, we're gonna talk later about how the algorithm works. Then you have the second page, which is the search bar and explore page. Here you see content of people that you don't follow, and it's based on your interest, on what you usually like. We're gonna talk again about the algorithm later. And then you can see reels, you can see normal posts, you can see videos, and you can also search for things. For example, if you go on search, you can write literally anything, and then it'll pop up the most appropriate result. Or otherwise, if you just want to search for accounts, so if you're looking for your friends, then you go in accounts and then you write the name. Or if you're using for tags, so here we're talking about hashtags. For example, I use a lot crazy amazing, and then you click OK. You see there are 6,000 posts. That is the number of posts that use that hashtag. You click on it and then you see all the posts that use this hashtag. Again, we're going to talk in depth about hashtag later. And then you can also find in places. For example, if you want to go into the Dolomites, you can write Dolomites, and then you see this place right here, and then all the posts that people use while in the Dolomites, they'll pop up here in this section. Or you can also view information about, for example, if you're looking for a restaurant and this restaurant has geotag, then you can see all the information, and you can also see the maps just by clicking on it, and then you can zoom out and see where the Dolomites are. There you go. Then the next tab, depending on your region, because Reels are not available in all the regions in the world yet, but they probably be, is that are Reels. So in this case, you're just seeing all these kind of video vertical format that are about 15 to 30 seconds as of right now. I think Reels that are about 15 to 30 seconds up to a minute, but usually you see them about 10 to 20 seconds. That's kind of the average. And then obviously you can put likes, you can comment, you can share it, and you can see the caption just right here with all the hashtag and so on and so forth. Then you have the shop feature. This is a new thing that Instagram is implementing in this month. But as TikTok is doing, they really want to push this kind of possibility of purchasing things from the app. Or if you are a business, for example, you can tag and you're selling clothes, you can tag your own clothes in your post and people can just need to click on it, see the price, access your website, buy it, and that's it. And then last one, we have our profile. So this is the main feed. That's what we're gonna call feed. This is the grid. This is what you wanna take care of really for the colors. And then you have the Reels tab. So in this case, only Reels. When you post Reels, you'll be able to post them in your feed or not, or just keep them in the Reels tab. And then the last one is whatever photos have your tag. So these are all people that tag me in their photo. And obviously there are some of my photos as well, because you can tag yourself in your photos. Then there is another tab. So let's find another person, let's say Nanlight, that has this tab right here. This is IGTV. This is long form content. So it's kind of like YouTube for Instagram. It's not really used, so I'm not gonna go in depth. But if you wanna post, for example, a YouTube video in here, this is gonna go on IGTV. And then there is another button here, which are the guides. Instagram launched guides a few months back, but I think they didn't really pick up. So these are basically ebooks that you can access with information. You can put posts, you can put links and stuff like this. Again, we're not going to really go in depth with this because I think they're pretty useless for now because it just didn't go well. So when you're in the homepage, there are also these stories right here on the top, and stories are content that is available only for 24 hours and are usually people that you follow already, and they pop up based on interest. For example, this is my friend Luca. There is one story only, and you can see the timer on the top right corner. So whenever that timer is gonna finish, then next story will pop up. And then next story, you just need to tap left or right to see the previous story or the next story, or you can slide to see the next person. Every 3 or 4 stories, there's always an ad, which is pretty annoying, but I actually like it sometimes because these ads are very targeted and they show me things that maybe I didn't know. So sometimes it's bothering me, sometimes it's okay, but that's how it works. Then if you want, there is also your face on the left side where it allows you to add a story. And in this case, you can use the built-in camera, or you can just swipe up and access to your camera roll and post whatever photo you have. This is based on recency. So if you want to post, let's say this photo, you just tap on it and this will be a story, and you need to click on your stories on the bottom left corner to just post it. Or you can do loads of different things that we're going to see later to modify stories. Once you're in the homepage, you can click the plus button to access the posting side of Instagram. So here you can just slide left or right and see if you want to do a post, if you want to do a story, if you want to post a reels, or if you want to go live. Even live is another option, but I don't do it very often because I just don't use live and I don't believe in live much. But it's going to come out to be a big feature in I think few months or few years time. Then here you can see all the people that put like or that tagged you, that tag you in stories, that comment you, everything. And then here are the messages. So you have primary and general. General usually where I keep the followers that I don't know personally, and primary is where I keep all the people that I know personally. So there are these 2 sections that are available when you're a creator. I'm not sure if you can access them on the spot or not. And then you have the request. So people that are not following you, but they try to send you a message, they go in request, and you need to approve or delete if you want to accept the message or not. If you want to reply, you need to accept it, obviously, and then you can decide whether to let them go in general or in primary. And that's pretty much it about Instagram. If you want to have a quick look on TikTok, when you open the app, there is the For You page, which are all these videos that are from people that you don't follow or people that you follow. It's a mix of both. Or you can pick the following page where there are videos of only people that you follow. So let's stay in the For You page. You can see the description, the likes, then you can tap on that person to see their feed and all their videos. Then you have the Discover page, so where you can search for everything. It's like the Explore page for Instagram. You see the trends, you see the hashtag that are going on, the music. And then you can go in Inbox where you see all your notification, people that follow you, that like you and all the things, plus the messaging side, which is only available if both of you follow each other. Then there's the profile where you see all your things, and then there's your description. You can edit your profile, add your links, and so on and so forth. You click plus, you'll be able to post a video, whether you want to upload your own or just create with the built-in video editor, all the effects, filter, enhancing, timers, and all the things. There are actually a lot of things here. Then even here, there is the TikTok shop, which is something that TikTok is implementing again in this week's, month, whatever, is only available in the UK. My account is based in the UK, so that's why I have it. If you're somewhere else, you probably don't have it, depending on when you're watching this video. Then the last app that I want to touch upon is YouTube Studio. So whenever you create a channel, you want to see your stats, you need to use this app, and then from here you see your subscribers, your analytics, the last video that you posted, and all the videos that are about to come up comment and stuff. In general, when you want to post on YouTube, it's always better to access it from desktop because you'll be able to see and change your banner, profile image, and all the kind of things, plus much more analytics. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. To set up your profile, the first thing that you'll have to choose is a username. Username is extremely important because it's the first thing that someone types in the search bar in order to find you, or when you need to communicate your Instagram name is exactly the username. And there are a few things that you need to understand before choosing one because you don't want to make some mistakes as I did. Mine, unfortunately, is not the best because it's a little bit difficult to read and a little bit difficult to pronounce it for foreign people. In Italy, it's pretty clear, but somewhere else is not. And you need to find something that is easy to remember because it's gonna act also as your personal brand in the future. So you need to avoid lengthy name, like too long, or if you come from a country that has a difficult pronunciation, then just avoid it. Find something extremely simple that is easy to pronounce and easy to remember. And obviously, because you want to be easy to remember, that has to be as short as possible. You want something catchy that makes you remember your name, and whenever you see it, oh, that guy, right? The best way is just try to think in different languages, and especially in English. Is it easy to pronounce it? Is it easy to remember? So for example, mine is not really great, but I decided to keep it because it's kind of borderline. And for example, you can use words like photography or visuals or vision, and loads of people actually used, for example, their initial, so m.visual. This is a London photographer. It's super easy to remember because there is just his initial, a dot, and visual. Right? A lot of people have visuals in their name, so maybe you can be a little bit more creative, but just make sure that it's easy to remember and catches your attention somehow. The next thing that you want to have and take care of is the title. This is extremely important because this is searchable. So whenever you put some word in a search bar, this pop-ups as well. For example, my username is Sfero21, whereas my title is Simone Ferretti, my name and my surname. And the best thing is to put what you do there in the title. So for example, when I communicate how to find me on Instagram, either I say my username or I say my name, because Simone Ferretti in the title is searchable. So if you put Simone Ferretti on Instagram, you'll find me. I'm gonna be probably the first one, the first result. But if you can put your name in the username, then there, or if you have space there, you can just put, for example, London photographer. And this way, if you look for London photographer in the search bar, everyone that has London photographer in the title will show up. So this is really important as well. So use a specific word that makes you identify with a certain profession or with a certain skill. Portrait photographer, landscape photographer, videographer, whatever comes in your mind, or whatever, who are you? Then the next part is the bio. Even this one is extremely important because it's like your business card. Whenever a person visits your profile, sees the bio. And you know, sometimes it's underrated. I see creators that don't have like a catchy bio, and I think this is just a mistake. You need to take care of the bio as it was your business card. So make sure to have something catchy there. Has to be easy to read, and put there what you do. Again, if you didn't put in the title, maybe portrait photographer, and why people should follow you. So for example, I put learning and teaching photography. So you should follow me because I teach you photography. You got what I mean, right? And also you can put them some major achievements, which means I have a Guinness World Record that I achieved on the Mount Everest in 2020, so I decided to put it there. If you've been awarded for the Photographer of the Year or whatever achievements you have, you just put it there. If you have a website, you teach Photoshop and you got already more than 5K people signing up for your courses, you can put teaching Photoshop to 5K people. Think about your best achievements and talents and why people should follow you and try to squeeze it there. Also, if you are an ambassador for any kind of brand, then just put it there. I'm a Jomi ambassador, I'm a Nala ambassador, and I obviously put them there as well. Next thing to take care of is the profile image. Even this one is a little bit underrated. This has to represent you. Your profile image is you, is your face. And you need to speak to your target as well. If you are a photographer, then took a profile picture with a camera. Or an outstanding photo that you have where you are in a scenery if you're a landscape photographer, or something that really represents you with a piece of gear that is very expensive that you have and makes you different from others. Use something that identifies you with your profession and make sure that it fits the circle very well. That circle is small, and that's why I'm telling you, have a portrait just on your face. Super important. Don't put landscape photo with you there. It could be okay, but it's also dangerous because it's such a small photo, such a small circle, that it's better to have just a face, or maybe you have a full figure when you walk in the beach with the sunset, something that works with a circle. Because the profile picture should be recognizable. Many times you just don't read much, but we have a very strong visual memory as humans, and therefore your profile picture becomes also an identifier for you. So when I scroll in